this is Lana. I'm in my kitchen. It is Black Friday, and you know that the love is the new black, right? So kick back. Maybe make yourself a little comfortable, and we will wrap in my kitchen as I make cauliflower tots. RawKin Tots. Because don't we all just miss those tater tots? But we want a healthier version that doesn't come in the frozen aisle and have a bunch of ingredients we can't even pronounce, right? So that's what we're going to do here today. I'm going to share one of my special little recipes that I just came up with, because I do that on the fly. How about y'all? Do you have any recipes you come up with on the fly that have become your signatures? Anyone out there? Huh? So, wow, it is a beautiful, beautiful day today. I don't know about y'all, but I have been really just moving and shaking in my house. I'm getting lots of stuff done. I'm just happy and grateful to be alive. And you know, it's moments like this that sometimes I have to reflect and breathe into it and go, wow, how blessed am I? How blessed am I to be right here, right now in this? You know, the power of social media, that we can reach out, embrace in this worldwide web and become this inclusion, this web of inclusion, as I like to call it. That we're not exclusive, we're all inclusive. Just drop the dogma and embrace your inner child. Let your inner child out to play, right? Be ridiculously or authentically you be you, right? Y'all know, those of you who've been following for a while, y'all know, you be you. You never know who out there needs to be reminded that they can be accepted right where they are, with all their pains, all their joys, all their traumas, all their experiences, because life is right here in this moment. And it's all about you showing up for you first, and that patience starts with self, and that you can extend what you embody within you. That when you breathe into this space, this heart space, this right here, right now, you open yourself up to allowing others to do the same for themselves, because it gives them permission to show up as they are without the need to put on a mask, without the need to pretend to be someone else or be what they think someone else needs them to be. You showing up as you are, accepting every aspect and integrating into the wholeness of who you are, right here, right now, mind, body, soul connection. What that does is it gives permission to others around you to step into their own personal power. So the key is that if we're showing up for ourselves in the moment, we're showing up for others at the same time and creating that ripple effect out, right? Doing that divine dance. Becoming that butterfly, creating and metamorphosizing into the beings we came here to be, with the gifts we have to share with one another. Because each one of us serves in some capacity. Maybe you don't know how you serve another, and maybe you do. It doesn't matter that you know or you don't know, that you embrace and just allow, and you flow with the ease and the grace, right? Embrace your rhythm, your flow, your divine dance, right? Because y'all know I love to dance, and I'm in my kitchen. We need to do things smarter, do them less harder, because life is short. We want to feel it sweetly. We want to feel the richness, the sensuality with every bite, every smell, every taste, every touch. We want to feel it all fully, because life really is about embodying in this whole form every single aspect, every single moment. It's all part of the here and now. When you are present right here, right now, that is the gift. And when you're in the moment, you create momentum, moment to moment, because it's a fleeting moment that becomes another moment. There is no stagnation. It's just what we attach to that creates the tension, right? Tension, attention, where energy goes. Energy goes where attention flows. Attention goes where energy flows. It's intertwining. It's like you can switch up the words, but the reality is wherever your attention goes, that energy is going to flow, right? So even if you think you're not thinking about something, if you're trying to avoid something, you're also giving it that energy. So when you choose your focus, that's being mindful. Meditation is single-minded focus. So when you actually want to create, you need to be present and be in that space of gratitude for what you have in the moment. And gratitude for the fact that even though you might not have something, you know it's coming. Because we tend to really create this turmoil. This inner turmoil comes up as a result of the desire for something we don't have right here, right now. Right? The inner turmoil is, I'm not getting what I want. And so that's choosing against what you do have. So the focus needs to be on what you do have so you can create more of it. And even if it's not physically within your reach or your grasp at the moment, that doesn't mean you don't have it already. So never give up before the miracle, because usually when it feels the most uncomfortable, when you want to give up, that's usually when you're right at the cusp, coming over the cliff, over the mountain, and just dive on in, because it's right there for you, right? I know in my experience, whenever I've gotten the most discomfort, almost inevitably, it's been right around the corner that it started to release. But I had to surrender into it. I had to sit with it. I had to be right there in the moment of what felt uncomfortable. Because the discomfort is also in the unknown. So your physical body reacts to the mind. And when the mind recognizes something's coming and I don't understand because I've never felt this before. We feel energy before we actually have an experience. We recognize change, and it usually drops into the mind as a discomfort. And it's like, things aren't happening the way I want them to be. What's going on? I feel a discomfort. Something just doesn't feel right, right? The not feeling right is not always a bad thing. Sometimes it's just an indicator that something is shifting in your life, something is changing for the better. It's usually for the better, even though sometimes our mind wants to go for the worst case scenario, right? It's usually for the better in the sense that it's unfamiliar. And see, change is like death, and when it's unfamiliar and unknown, it's discomfort, it's uncomfortable. That's why addiction is so easy for people, because what is familiar is comfortable. Doesn't mean that the situation is the best for you, but we find more comfort in the known than we do the unknown. And you don't know until you know, right? Just like many of us who've never truly experienced what is love, what is it supposed to feel like? If you don't know what it feels like, then how can you embrace it? And you tend to reject what feels uncomfortable. So many people who have been through addictive and unhealthy relationship like I have in my past, it felt comfortable because that's what I knew. I didn't know how to allow the goodness to come in, and if someone treated me well, I would reject them because it didn't feel comfortable, because it wasn't known to me, right? That's just an experience that I've had in my past. And you notice what feels uncomfortable, you have to adjust and open up to it. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It's just the mind that puts the label on, like discomfort equals unknown, right? Doesn't mean it's a bad thing. So you have to shift the focus, shift the attention, shift the arena in the mind of the idea that it's bad, when in reality, it could be the best thing ever happened to you. Just embrace it all. That's why there is no good, no bad. Oh, there goes that pendulum. We're swinging again, right? There's no good or bad, and choosing one or the other is just rejecting, when really you just need to come to center and breathe fully into it all. And because when you want to really experience something, it's going to be right here, right now. Going within, breathing into the heart space, becoming mindful and aware of the thoughts that drop in, and witnessing as an observer. Don't get caught up in them. Don't get attached to them, because thoughts just are. Just like floating clouds, let them go passing by. Say, oh yeah, I remember that. Okay, yeah, how's that serving me? And allow it to bring you back. Just let it go through and come back and breathe. Because the breath will reset you. It's the one thing you can count on in this world, is you have the breath of life. Right? Life. So much to behold, to feel the richness of everything, but how engaged are we in all the senses? And again, I'll take it back to the sensuality. It's incorporating all of your 5 senses and your spidey sense too. The intimacy, the into me, I see, right? Intuition, into me, I see. And so, where are you at on this fabulous Friday? I'm feeling a little kitty frisky. And y'all know I love to hang out in the kitchen, so y'all know I'm doing cauliflower tater tots. I got my dehydrator all ready for it. I got inspired yesterday. I came up with all these different recipes that I'm playing with, and if y'all noticed on my page, I posted a bunch of stuff. And I'm going to tell you right now, those mushrooms, those almond encrusted baby bellas, they didn't last at all. I'm telling you, they were lickety split. You're not going to kick anybody out of bed for crumbs like those in your bed, because you're going to lick them up too. They're so yummy. Get in my tummy. So here's the bonus. Since I made up so much of that crust, I'm going to use them on the tater tots. So without further ado, we have this beautiful, and I thought this was appropriate for tater tots, because y'all remember tater tots with that funky, like kind of brown, golden brown color, right? So I've got, isn't that pretty? Look how beautiful that color is. Gosh, it doesn't even show up as bright orange as it is in my hand. Look at that. It's like, gorgeous. Gorgeous. I love you, Lexi. I've been missing you, hon. Where have you been hiding? And don't feel bummed. Unless you're going to get a little jiggy on with your little booty, you know? You got to get up and dance. And I want to find you in your kitchen. It looks yellow, but it's golden, like this orangey yellow. It's more golden. It's not. It says orange on there, but it's bright golden orange. So yes, I agree. It has a little bit more of an orangey gold. It looks cheesy, right? We're getting choosy down here tonight. You know me. And so it's got a few little spots on it that need to be cleaned off. I do this when I go through all of my, especially with cauliflower, I'm like, there's a little black spot there. We just clean that off. Ain't gonna hurt nobody. It's not dirt. Dirt don't hurt either. You just, just clean it up. Really wasn't very much. I was just excited to see this when I saw this at Whole Foods the other day. I'm like, ooh, but I wanted the purple one. Oh, yeah, a lot of people are going through a lot of purging, physical, emotional. The body, it reminds you that we need to take a time to rejuvenate, restore, heal, especially those of us who don't know how to take it easy and relax, right? So sometimes we have to be forced into submission, right? So, see, this is what I love about the community. Thank you, Joni, for speaking up. And, each and every one of you are so beautiful because you show up for one another. And that's why we love this community and all of you, and why we created this group. Because y'all, if you're having a bad day and you think, oh, nobody really wants to hear about my stuff, just head on over the group. Share what you're going through. Look at how people show up for one another. You've got your own new family, Everybody's there to uplift, support, inspire, and empower one another. So if you're having a bad day, you might even just decide, go live. Click the live button. People will make you laugh in the comments. Come on, look at me. I mean, some of the comments I get, right? They make me laugh. And then, of course, I just get silly anyway, right? I think the only reason holidays can be tough, depending on if you've had good or bad experiences, and we attach to those old memories. So, you know what? Shift happens. We just need to change up how we celebrate. You need to change the celebration mode, right? Get with people who maybe decide, I don't believe in holidays. Let's just go out and have our own little holy day, holiday, you know? Aww, so cool. Thank you, Brenda. How are you doing? So it's so lovely to be able to spread the love and share with y'all. And, you know, I've just been super inspired, if you couldn't tell, being in my kitchen. So I'm always hanging in the kitchen. And for me, I'm not doing anything special. I've just been home. And I usually will spend it with my dad. And so I don't, you know, I haven't. And I am apologetic there, because normally I really do. I value and really appreciate time with my father. But I've been working hard behind the scenes. And, you know, sometimes you have priorities that take over. And I know my dad understands, because he's seen me. And so it's all good. Sometimes we need a little downtime. So just to mention, I don't throw any of this away. So for anybody out there, if you've never tried the core, this is the sweetest part to me of a cauliflower. I will clean it up and I will use all of this, because all of it's edible and none of it should be wasted, right? Again, it's all going to go in the food processor and it's all going to get mixed up. So I'm going to plug this in before I forget. It's the simple things like plugging in the food processor that you need to remember, right? And then you go to hit the button and you're wondering, why is it not working? So, dun, 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 dun. Boop, 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 boop. So this is, and it, you know, sometimes, itchy eyes. Yeah, not with a knife. So everything will be cut up and put in the food processor. And it's all yummy good stuff. Cruciferous veggies. It's a lot more filling than people realize, and extremely beneficial. Already, let's see here. Let's clean off the very base of it, because that's usually what I like to do. Give it some crispness here. So did anybody out there have anything special that they themselves prepared for the holidays, or do you have a signature dish? Because I always love to hear, right? I love to read over your comments and see, you know, did somebody have something unique out there? I saw some beautiful cheesecakes, some creations out in the group. It was making my mouth water. That's all I'm saying. Okay, so, and then I got parsnip. Snippity, parsnippity, snippity, parsnippity. Alright, so we cut this up. I may or may not use all this, but I'm going to use part of it. Parsnips also kind of imparts a little bit of a sweetness to it. You can also make, you know, here's the cool thing. You can do so much with this. You don't even have to, I'm going to process this a little chunky, creamy. There'll be a little texture, but not a lot. And with parsnip and cauliflower, you can kind of make a raw version like rice. And I've done it also with jicama too. Ooh, raw sweet potato fudge. I've made that, Christine. The bomb diggity, right? Oh, haven't done that in a while, but I did it not long ago. He deep fries it and injects it. Oh yeah, you know what? It's so funny you mentioned. I saw one of my friends and I forgot about the turkey, about turkey frying. And I'm like going, yeah, and I remember hearing some stories about people having explosive turkeys too, right? If it gets too hot, the turkey goes flying. People get hurt. This time of year, it's amazing how many accidents there happen in the kitchen. I know they don't do it on purpose, but you know, mindfulness, right? Single-minded focus. So when you are doing anything You need to be fully engaged, mind, body, soul. Like, yeah. And if you're not, that's usually when most accidents occur, is because people are totally disengaged and not present in their bodies. And they get distracted. Which, you know, the squirrel. I know I get distracted really easily. But I own it. I'm good with it. And I always find a way to bring it back. I'm bringing attention back. Because my mind, it goes off to the track. You never know where I'll be at. My mind, it just goes everywhere it's at. What? I can be silly, you think? Like I said, that's just how I roll. Making stuff up. I find myself entertaining sometimes. Sometimes I just laugh at myself and I'm like going, man, I wish somebody else could get in on this joke so I would have somebody laugh with me about it, right? Doesn't it take a lot to find the right cray-cray match to you? Like, I mean, when I say that, I mean like somebody that you don't even have to open your mouth. You both look at each other and go, and you just have the deepest belly laughs. Do you know how healing that is? That can, I mean, if you don't have humor in your relationships, dude, you are totally missing out. Life is all about just being humble and having fun, letting that inner child out. If your inner child is not having fun, it's feeling suppressed. It's like cutting off your blood supply. It's like cutting off the life force prana. Because laughter is where it's at. And if you don't have humility and humor in your life, humility, you know, the words are connected. Hello. Don't take it all so serious. It doesn't really, it's just a construct of the mind. It's all made up crap. It's all made up. Whether you make it funny or you make it serious, you choose, you know. You choose. You choose your battles. Ah, young one. Young Daniel-san. Wax on, wax off. Wax it off because we don't want to wax it on. Let go of that crazy stuff. Can you imagine if life was scripted, how boring that would be? If you had everything you so-called claim that you wished would be the way you want it to be, you'd never grow. So when someone challenges your perfectionism, your way, your vision of how things should be, thank them. Thank them for taking you out of your comfort zone, because they're going to make you grow the most. I'm just saying. My cray-cray has been off kilter for a long time, and it's just getting better, and it's only just gotten started again. You know, like, rev up them engines. Let's get ready to rumble! It's kind of how I feel about my life right now, because truly, I lived a whole life of too serious, too caught up in but it's supposed to be this way. This is the way it is. These are the rules. And the dogma, drop the dogma. Kick it out to the curb, kick it out the door. It isn't going to serve you. Ain't going to happen no more. So back to the cauliflower tots. Squirrel, right? Okay, so right now this is probably at least a half of a cauliflower. I used one large parsnip. I will have the recipe later. I always post, I always post a picture with the recipes. And if you saw the pictures of the mushrooms, they didn't last long after the pictures. Heck, they're lucky they lasted as long as the pictures did. I actually didn't try them until long after that, but even still. And I'd say for the dehydration on my almond encrusted mushrooms. The cool thing was, and I know a lot of people don't know this, if you've never worked with dehydrators, they do shrink. So your mushroom might have been this big and it'll end up coming out this big. And so even though I put them in the dehydrator and mine's short and it's got limited like height between each of the trays. I really prefer the ones you can slide in and adjust the trays, but unfortunately this is my budget at the moment. And it's all perfect. Hey, anyone can do it for 40 bucks at Aldi's. I'm not complaining. I'm able to show you exactly what you can do with it. And you yourself can do the same. And so if you're on a budget, just keep that in mind. You don't have to spend a whole lot of money to be able to eat healthy. It's all about shopping around, having, exposure and right choices, and just deciding, hey, this is what I want to do, and it's also priority too, and putting yourself first. So anyway, going back to that, I knew that even though they didn't close fully, that I knew they were going to shrink down. And sure enough, they were, after the first couple hours, they were down short enough to where it was closed. And they turned out delicious. That's all I can say. I'm sorry I couldn't, share through virtual reality. But even then, I'm not sure I would have wanted to share them just because they were just so good. So I'm really going to toast this first because it'll give me more space to see if I can fit some more in there. And I always tend to overdo it when I fit stuff in there. So without further ado, I'm going to pulse. Everyone want to pulse with me? Process like mine, sometimes you gotta kind of move it around so that it doesn't get stuck up on the sides. Alright, so, oh, that's so pretty. Look at those colors. I would take it off of here, but the last time I remember doing that, I reminded myself that when you take it off of this actual stand to try to show you, well, unfortunately the blade gets all messed up and then I, have to, it's a mess. Alright, so, do the pulse. I'm a little bit rough with my kitchen appliances, I'm just saying. Okay, so when I take this off, it's pretty fine. Always have your spoon nearby. And you'd be surprised, like I've actually made cauliflower rice using, I love macadamia nuts when I make my sushi, for example, because I find that the moisture that comes out of the cauliflower when you're making like a sushi rice, putting it in the wrap and all that, it kind of cuts down on having to squeeze out any excess moisture, for example. So, just to give you a sample of what it looks like. See? Look at that. Mushy, mushy, mushy. Actually, it's still crispy too. And there's a sweetness to it too. But we're going to flavor it up. Do I need chickpea miso on this one? I nearly forgot about the chickpea miso. But first, this is going to be a little different than last night's recipe. I'm hearing noises in my kitchen. I'm going to use a half an avocado, and this is a small Hass avocado that I had chopped yesterday. I used half of it in the parsnip, or in my dilly version of cauliflower mash. I might need a little bit, I might need a whole, but I'm not sure. I'm just starting out small. It's easier to add than to take out. So certain ingredients, I will regulate them. I'm really bad about writing down recipes, but because of the fact that I've been doing this now, I've been making a point to write down my recipes because now I know I can recreate the deliciousness that I've been making. A lot of times, every time I make something, it's always a little different, but for the sake of sharing with all of y'all, I have been making a point. See, that's how much I care. I'm taking time to do that. Let me tell you, that takes time in itself. And so, that, then I'm going to need asafoetida. If you've never had asafoetida, it sure is a great alternative to those garlic, those alums and onions. This stuff smells so good. You only need like 1/8 of a teaspoon. And the beauty of this stuff is is it's good for the belly. And if you have an allergy to alums, but you really, really like garlic and onions, which I do, love them, it doesn't give you the same effect, obviously. Because I know when I've been learning that over time, especially as much as I love onions, that I wake up in the morning, my eyes are all swollen. I feel like, kind of like a little drunk and drugged. And when you cut onions, you have to consume them immediately. You can't let them sit because they draw toxins from the atmosphere. And it's good to cleanse with. Like, I know people who do onion cleanses. They juice their onions and they drink it down and it draws out the toxins. But for myself, I just noticed, and I haven't tried the actual, I've done it as a smoothie. You want to add apple or something, because I'm going to tell you right now, it's so pungent. You can't necessarily drink it by itself. I would add apple and celery. But as a juice is a great way to do it. And I don't juice that much, so it's all good. And then so I did half of this, wait, that's the wrong recipe. I've scrolled down on my little notes here. So I did the eighth of a teaspoon of the asafoetida. I put in the half of an avocado, 1 large parsnip, which was probably about a half a cup. Now we're going to put in, this is the equivalent of 2 tablespoons because of nutritional yeast. Because with the nutritional yeast, it's going to impart a little cheesiness to it. Just a little bit more. So that's 2 tablespoons of nutritional yeast. And you don't want too much moisture in this because it's going to go in the dehydrator, but enough that it's going to be sticky when you do put it together. Now, I'm also going to add, I have to lick off the nutritional yeast. Is really tasty. If you don't know about nutritional yeast, it imparts that cheesy flavor. It's a great alternative if you can't do dairy. I stopped eating dairy a long time ago. Over the years, I will say that I have had it, but I also notice immediately when the phlegm comes up, because dairy creates a phlegm. It also creates inflammation. It also creates, for me, joint pain and a lot of other issues. The herb de Provence, oh, I don't know if I'm putting that in there just yet. I'm going to do that last because I don't like to spice anything up until I get the base down. But we need salt, and I need at least 1 teaspoon of the Himalayan salt. I already pretty much figured out this recipe the other day, so we've got a teaspoon. Okay, make that 1.5 teaspoons of salt, just because we're really going to bring out the flavors today. Himalayan salt. Coconut aminos. Okay, so with the coconut aminos, we're going to do 3 tablespoons, right? Yes. And I eyeball a lot of stuff, so that's good. And then how much of that? Chickpea. Chickpea miso. Chickpea miso is a great way to impart flavor as well. And I want to see, I thought I had lemon. I have 1 lemon, but I'm going to, I'm going to hold off. I'm going to grab a lemon. One limone in Italiano. Do I have any Italian speakers out there? Parlami. Speak to me. Yeah, here's the fun part. When I do lemon, for example, I like to cut out all the wedges. I don't like to miss a beat when it comes to lemon. I feel like lemon is something very precious. Prezioso, molto prezioso. Mi piace tantissimo il limone. It's very good for you. High in vitamin C, vitamine, right? You just want to make sure you don't get the pits in there, right? Get the seeds. La, 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 la. Did anybody buy anything special on this Black Friday? I'm always curious, you know, like I did not leave my house. I was not going out in that craziness. Hey, I may be cray-cray, but I can choose the cray-cray I engage in, right? But I'm a good, fun cray-cray. At least I agree with that. And you know what? All that matters is your own opinion of yourself. You know, nobody has to agree with you. You be you. You show up for you, and you know what? That's all that matters. Don't worry about what other people think about you, because that gives away your personal power. The minute you give someone the opportunity to decide whether or not you are important, you have given away your power. You have to find that inner power within. You have to go within. You have to cultivate and nurture your own self-love. Because if you don't love you, nobody else is going to. You have to give others permission to love you by loving yourself first. When you step up to the plate, you embody that self-love. Not only do you give others permission to do it for themselves, but you also attract people who will also treat you the same way. Why? Because you're treating yourself that way. That's the vibration you set. When your life shows up to you where you're at. So when you love yourself, other people show up who will love you as well. And they will mirror, emanate exactly where you're at. So I know for me, when somebody has shown up in my life that challenges me in thinking, well, why aren't they treating me better? It's because somewhere inside of me, I'm not treating myself better. It's usually a pretty humbling experience, and I've really grown a lot from that awareness and that epiphany. For me, it was very powerful, and it shifted my life significantly, so that when I started showing up for myself and realizing, oh my gosh, they're not treating me the way I want to be treated, because I'm not treating myself that way. How can someone else treat you the way you want and need to be treated if you're not? And that in itself, like, really, that's a gift. And like I said, someone shows up in your life that makes you like feel uncomfortable, thank them. Because that discomfort is an opportunity for growth. That's an opportunity for you to look inside and go, what's this trying to tell me right now about myself in this moment? That's what it's all about when you're mindful and you're in the moment, as opposed to trying to go off on other people and telling them how you should be treated, how you need them to be, how your environment needs to be for you to feel comfortable. That in itself, that's giving away your power. That's like saying you're not adaptable and you're not in the flow. True flow takes you into this. Comfort is everywhere. It's wherever you want to move it, right? Nobody ever does anything to you. It's what you allow into your space, and whatever's coming from out of you that you're drawing to you. Like, you know, if something shows up that's uncomfortable, it's probably because you're uncomfortable inside with something. So the mindfulness is recognizing what is going on within myself. How can I show up better for me? What can I do for myself that will allow my heart and soul to sing? Find the inner joy within. Squeeze and make lemonade with your limons. Limonata or limoncello. For those of you who like limoncello, you can make a limoncello. You know, quando la vita è così, deve usare il limone così. Deve cambiare, trasferare. You know, you have to transfer, reform it, change it. It's all about how you move that energy and flow and dance with it when it shows up. You don't try to reject anything. You just, you know, it's like you don't go in with a closed fist, because what comes back is exactly what you go in with. When you go in with an open hand, an open heart, you're drawing in an open heart and an open hand. And we all want to be seen. We all want to be heard. We all want to engage and embrace one another, right? And it can't happen unless we're showing up for ourselves first and witnessing. Mm. So over on this side, I have the compost pile. Over this side, I have the bag of trash. In the bag of trash, I put the lemons in because the lemons apparently don't compost very well. It changes the acidity of the dirt that it creates. That's what I've learned and what I've been told in all my teachings. But I also know friends who do throw it all together and it works fine. So I'm playing with it and I'm constantly learning because that's what it's about, being adaptable. I'm putting 1 tablespoon of chickpea miso. If anybody wants to write these down and add them to the comments, that's great. It'll help us all. Just saying. I love the taste of this stuff. We're going to put in half a teaspoon, and I'm going to eyeball this again, ground pepper. Because who doesn't like a little pepper? Pepper. Grind it, baby. Grind it good. Grind all the way. Oh, yes, yes. We like to grind it, Peppa. We move it around. We shake it about. We do the hokey pokey. We turn ourselves around. That's what it's all about. Yeah! You gotta be silly and have fun. I always have fun in my kitchen. You gotta play with your food. You know what I'm saying? Parsnip lovin', straight from the oven. I'm in the mood for love, simply because you're near me. I'm just saying, just pick it up and sing your heart out, baby. Swing it all about. I get what I'm throwing down. Y'all having fun tonight? Alrighty. Well, I'll just stick with my cauliflower tots. Before I forget, we sometimes need to push down the sides because it's a little bit of a science with the food. And every processor processes differently, just like everybody has a different experience. Doobie-doobie-doo. This is the trueness of me and you. Doobie-doobie-doo. I'm in love, especially when I'm cooking food. Because it's my kitchen laboratory. It's the alchemist space, the sacred space. I love food. Gotta stuff down the sides, but it's missed. Oh, the smell. Ooh, the smells. It smells so good. It smells so yummy. Kind of like, you know, you get in my tummy. You put about 2 tablespoons of water in it. Give it just enough moisture to mix it up a little bit better. Actually, while I'm at it, I always drink my water out of glass, and I keep it capped because I've dropped my glasses running around the house. I drink at least 2 of these every morning, and then, you know, I don't know how many throughout the day. We are 70% water, so you must hydrate, and I live in the southern sunshine state of Florida, so, you know, you can never get enough water here, and that's why I even live by the water. I don't get enough water. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. So good. Yummy. Yummy, yummy, yummy. I'm getting some in my tummy. Hey, listen, if this is as good as I think it's going to be, they're not going to last, just like those mushrooms, those baby bellas. more emulsion away. I'm going to add some of the almond flour to this. Not a lot, like maybe a tablespoon first and see how that works. Because it's going to give it a little bit more, it'll stick with the avocado and all that. So a tablespoon of almond butter, or almond flour, almond meal, and a half. Let's see how that works first. And then if I need more, I will add more. So I can get really serious about my food because as much as I love food, but at the same time, I always try to remind people, you know, I can take a recipe. It doesn't always end up being the recipe I start out with. And so even if I give you a recipe, I share with you what I do, you know what, you're going to make it your own. I always recommend, you know, you're going to add more salt or less salt or more spices or different spices. Just play with it. Have fun. Make it your own. Because in the end, I don't think anybody ever recreates the same recipe. Even if you follow the same measurements, you're pouring in a totally different energy every time, right? And I think this is going to be about 2 to 4 hours in the dehydrator, by the way. Have to kind of move the dehydrator around just because, not the dehydrator, whoops. Food processor, the one that I just opened up while it was in mid-movement. Haha, that's funny. That's hilarious what I just did. It wasn't even closed and it actually worked. You do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. That's what it's all about. Let's see if that's well processed. It looks so good and smells even better. I might add some spice. I haven't quite yet decided. I think I want a little bit more of the almond flour, the almond meal, because it's giving it more of the tater-totter flavor. Tater-totter flavor. Say that a few times really fast. So I've got another tablespoon. So I'm going to say that we put about 3.5 tablespoons of almond meal. Gosh, where did this year go by? You know, how did it go by so quickly? Because on all essence, I'm sitting here thinking to myself, wow, it's Thanksgiving's just passed, it's Black Friday, Christmas is around the corner. I know I'm going to be down in Lake Wales, you know, doing my Kundalini Yoga winter solstice event. This is how quickly time is flying. Like, it's not a coincidence, and yes, we are all experiencing like this speed up of time. But before you know it, it's going to be 2008. And can we take stock and look back and see how far we've come in our lives? I'll put stuff away now before I forget, right? So, I'm actually writing down a couple of things that I modified. And then, before I forget, I really want to put in a little bit of herb de Provence because I am going to kind of add some herbal flavoring to it. Hey, let me know if you got any questions in the comments. I mean, I know I'm being silly and all, but come be silly with me and share your silliness down here. Get down there, share some comments, please. I love engagement and interaction. This gets to be even more fun. Okay. So herb de Provence, I really love the flavors because it has a little tarragon in it too. I do like to clean as I go so I can keep it nice and tidy in my kitchen. Alright, let's try this now, see if this is well mixed, and I'm probably going to have to pulse it a little bit more to push down the sides because, you know, it goes sticking up to the sides. You don't want to miss any of the yumminess. You want to mix it all together, making it really nice and so succulent. It's a sensual experience. You must look at it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it. All those goody things that make life so rich. Engaging all those senses. Oh, this is going to be good. That was the best. I think I put about a half a teaspoon of the herb de Provence. Maximum. You really don't need a lot, but just enough to give it a little kick for flavor. Oh yeah. That's good. And it was 2 tablespoons of the nutritional yeast. Oh yeah. And so, now we're going to put in the dehydrator. But first you got to kind of take it out. This is the process that probably is going to take the longest. Because you want to make sure you put them in the right form. Oh man. Okay. So just to show you what it looks like so far. This is the mixture, and now we're going to make it into, going to give it its own fancy schmancy little space in the dehydrator, because right here's my blinking dehydrator. I already have trays with, I put parchment paper on there. I had to cut each of the parchment papers individually because, well, that's the way I wanted to do it, and I don't want to make a big mess. I know, I got a little bit of a clean issue going on. Let me clear off my counter over here. This might take a few more minutes. But I'll show you how to start it, and then you get the idea. This is where I take my rings off because I don't want food stuck up in all my jewelry. So here's the cauliflower mash with the parsnips, and now we're going to create these tots, cauliflower tots. And each of the cauliflower tots is going to get its own little space on these dehydrator trays. See, they're round. I got this dehydrator at Aldi's for 40 bucks. Can't beat that. The beauty is, you know, there's always an option. If you want to try something like this, you can find really great little ideas. And you know what? There's another thing you can do too. Like, I love gnocchi. You could make gnocchi too, okay? Gnocchi, la pasta, fatto con patate. Mamma mia, che buono. One of my favorite things when I was living in Italy was having the gnocchi. And you can make gnocchi. There's all sorts of different ways. This is kind of another way to make it. And so this may come out like a tater tot or maybe more like the gnocchi, but we'll find out. Maybe I'll make them in different shapes and sizes just to play with. But I'm just going to take, this is about a half a tablespoon. I'm just going to mold it. And here's the beauty. I've got this almond encrusting that I made for the mashed potatoes for the mushrooms the other day. And I'm going to use that around it, right? So you get to play with things, and I'll put both recipes out there so that y'all can play around and do your own And I did use half an avocado in this. So like there's your tater tot, right? Look at that, so simple. Or if you want to make it like a gnocchi, you know, the gnocchi's like a knuckle. That's what gnocchi is, right? Gee, whoopsie, that's all I can say. Like, I guess I'm on a calling list because that was not supposed to happen. But it's all good, right? So then, oh, this is really kind of moist, so I almost feel like maybe it needed a little less of the water. So in the future, I would use much less water, if any at all. But here's the beauty. Look at that. It's gonna be it's gonna be cauliflower tot. And you know, the beauty of eating things plant-based, you really want to keep your ingredients as simple as possible, as few as possible, so that, for example, I'm not mixing nuts and seeds. I'm keeping it just to almond, right? In the past, I would mix a bunch of nuts and seeds, and I do when I go out to restaurants. You know, I want to try a little bit of everything, especially places that I know I'm going to get really good quality whole food plant-based. And so it's really nice if you can keep it limited to the same nut and not taking a bunch of nuts and mixing them, or a bunch of seeds and mixing them, or mixing nuts and seeds. Because your body really wants something that's going to be simple and not a bunch of like hodgepodge of stuff put together. So what I might do is I'll make some with the crust around it and some without, because that's the fun part, is trying little ways without the crust and with the crust. Because it's really wet. It's finger food. So basically this little crust that I made up for the mushrooms yesterday, it has some cilantro, and some, I'm thinking in Italian, I'm sorry, prezzemolo, parsley. And with those, and the salt and the pepper and the mix that's in there, OMG yum, right? And so, playing with your food, always make it fun. Enjoy it. You'll always learn something while you're in the process of doing something, right? Just how engaged are you with it? Are you really, really present in the moment? Playing with your food, making it fun. Then it's this whole experience. It's not just about, oh, I have to put food in my body, so I just start gobbling things up. And there's a little salt and pepper in this this herbal mix that I have on top for the crust. You know what, just so you're not like too much, but if you have questions, please ask, because you know, I find that if you ask a question, you might be surprised. I might have a good answer for you. Or I may just make you laugh with a funny one. And if you've never seen me before, just letting you know, I'm in Clearwater, Florida. When I get on here, I just wrap in my kitchen. I share what I'm doing and beautiful recipes to inspire you. Because you never know. You never know out there who could use a little inspiration with something just so simple as tater tots that are made with cauliflower, right? Cauliflower, RawKin cauliflower tots. Get a little toddy, right? Different type of toddy, but this is pretty. See, to me, food is art too. You know, it's not just the food as art in the form of eating it, but it's the pleasure, you know, the eyes. We eat with our eyes, right? And mouth pleasure. It's a combined, again, it's always all five senses. And you want to be engaged fully in your food. It is a mind, body, soul connection. It is all important. All of us matter. Everything about us matters. our experience matters. It especially matters to our soul, because we came here to have a certain life experience, and we should embrace it and just enjoy all of it. And so whatever it is you do in your life, make sure you're infusing it with love from your heart. I find that in itself changes my quality of life significantly. That the more I am really just pouring forth from my heart and doing it because I enjoy it, it just feels that much more beautiful and enriching in my life as well as those around me. Does anybody else out there experience that? So yummy. It's so pretty. Let me just show you what this looks like so far. Like, seriously. This is, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Hold on a minute. Hey, you know I'm real and raw. You're getting me. When you get pieces of me, you get the best of me. And sometimes you get pieces of the food too. Let me try it this way. Look at that. Those are cauliflower tots, right? You getting the idea now? Oh yeah. And yes, I do lick my fingers because this stuff is so good. I lick the bowl, I lick the plates. I lick my forks, I lick my knives, my spoons. In-house, that's because I'm not missing a beat. It's just so darn good. Hallelujah. Delicious, delicious. Oops. And there's no right or wrong way. I mean, you can make these any shape you want. Just remembering that the smaller they are, the quicker they'll dry up in the dehydrator, because that's what you're doing. You're just setting them up so that they can get dehydrated equally. So I'm making some that have the crust on them and some without. All of these flavors are just amazing. I'm throwing it in, throwing a lot of this crust on it, forming it into tater tot little sections. This is fun. And you know, if you have kids out there, those of you who have kids, this is a great thing to share with them. Gosh, I wish my mom made stuff like this when I was growing up. My dad was the cook of the house, and he was fantastic. My mom's birthday's coming up. She was okay. She was more like the baking mom. But my mom, my sister, and I have this little joke. Well, I thought you were supposed to put a lot of ketchup on meatloaf because it was so dry. We were like, yeah, okay, I get it. Yeah, she couldn't cook. But it wasn't that she didn't try, that she didn't try to make it from her heart. She did pour love into what she did as much as she could, you know. And see, everybody's in different stages in their life, and the amount of love that they can really show is really what they're showing to themselves. And I learned that over the course of my life, that when someone is really bitter, that means they're really bitter inside, and that those are the people that need the most compassion and love, right? And even yourself, if you're somebody who struggles with giving yourself a little compassion, just remember that that also helps you become more aware of those people around you. That the kindness has to start with self so you can extend it to those other people. You can also see that when another person is in a certain place, that's probably where you've been. If you recognize it, you know, recognize the other person as yourself. Because we all are showing up where the other person is at. We're drawing in a certain vibration, a certain energy, a certain state that we're at in our own lives. And other people are there also to serve and allow us to recognize that, right? So This is so cool. I'm just thrilled. I mean, you know, like I get really creative. I literally get these inspirations to just, ooh, this is what I'm going to make. And then I make it, and I'm even more thrilled because then I'm like, ooh, I did it. I made what I was thinking, and it turned out just the way I thought it would. For me, again, it comes back to that whole sensual experience of not just food, but, you know, engaging all of your senses, because that's really what life is about. In every experience, the misunderstanding of sensuality is not sexuality. Please keep that in mind. Sensuality is engaging the senses. It's really feeling the richness of life in everything you do. And that the more engaged you are in a moment, in an experience, the richer it's going to be. The more your life will be in the flow. You recognize that, wow, there's so much fulfilling in this life. Now, how engaged am I? How you show up, it's just, the way you do anything is the way you do everything, right? So if you have to censor yourself out in public, then, well, you're not being in your authenticity. You're not being authentically yourself. And that is humbling, and that's the opportunity you have to step into your personal power to go, you know what? I have nothing to hide. I have nothing to forgive for myself. I need to really be in a place of acceptance of all that I am and all that I've been and all I've experienced, because you are who you are, and you have no need to show up as something other than that, because that's your perfection in your soul. Your heart needs to be pure, and you need to come from your personal power. And breathe in that prana, that life force, and allow yourself to be enlivened, enriched, right? It's the whole body experience, mind, body, soul connection. That's what it's really about. Make tater tots or cauliflower tots, right? Cauliflowers with parsnip and a really yummy almond encrusting. And like our beautiful Lucy Lynch sings, live your life out loud. You've got to live your life out loud. Let yourself be free, free, free. Unabashedly, unapologetically, just be. That's what it's all about. And some of these tater tots are just getting bigger as I go. I say tater tots and cauliflower tots. I feel like I gotta call them RawKin Tots. There we go. RawKin Tots. RawKin cauliflower tots, but RawKin Tots sounds even better. Oh. Oops, wrong one. Whoopsie. Having way lot of fun over here. Wish you could smell this. I wish you could taste this. Or even touch it, right? Truly feel the essence of this yumminess over here. Roll it in the dough. Roll it in the crust. I'm telling you, the crust is so good. You could use it actually as a sprinkle on something. Yummy, yummy, yummy. I got loving in my tummy. And it's all made from my heart. Whoopsie. I got crumbs all over the place, and good crumbs. Let me tell you, these are the kind of crumbs you're not going to want to kick anyone out of bed for. You're just going to fight over who eats them. Mushy, mushy. But when it goes in the dehydrator, baby, I'm telling you, they're gonna be nice and really yummy. I'm creating space for extras over here. Life is beautiful, so much more beautiful when you're in it. Not just to win it, but just to be present. That is the gift that I have you present here and now. By the way, have you gotten your hug today? Because if I could, I'd give you a virtual hug. Because we need a hug every day. Each and every day, a hug. Minimum 30 seconds, but even then, if you can hold a hug longer, you're going to increase your immune system, your happy hormones, the oxytocin. You're not just doing yourself a service, but you're giving this another person a heart-to-heart, right? The gift of you. And if you're ever having an argument with someone, you know what? The hug is the best way. If you feel uncomfortable, both of you need to take a deep breath and say, you know what? I want to be happy. I don't need to be right. This mind wants to be right. This heart says, let's just be happy. It takes a very humble person to step back and admit, you know what? I don't need to be right. I can actually just be happy. But it's a choice, and it takes a lot of cultivating inner love, inner self-love, right? It all starts with self, because you can't force anything on anybody else. Hallelujah. We're coming down to one full tray. And I have a little trick with my dehydrator. I turn it on, put the cap on it, and I only put as many trays as I'm using, which is the cool thing about a stackable. A stackable dehydrator gives you that opportunity to, like, it'll actually dehydrate quicker too, by the way. The fewer trays that are in there. Because it consolidates all that heat, right? I think my belly is talking to me and saying, this is really good. Can we eat it now? Because even if you don't want to make this as a... Here's the thing. You could eat that as it is, as a side mash. You don't necessarily have to make it as what I'm making. This is just fun, and this is just another option. And like I said, make these recipes your own. Have fun with them. Play with them. Change things up, right? You won't know till you try. My fingers are covered in mash. So I used avocado to kind of make it stick, as well as that almond flour. I could have put some more almond flour, but I'm quite happy with what I did. And the flavors. So delicious. And so eating with your fingers, right? It's actually very good. It's kind of like grounding. It engages all of your senses, and it with all the elements. The Indians, when they eat with their hands, they make sure to touch each fingertip to their lips, because it actually infuses that energy, those elements, and it's very healthy. They know how to enrich their food experience as well as the sensuality of the experience. ooh. I just need a couple more and I'm going to show you this beautiful creation over here. Has anybody seen Les Miserables? One of my favorite books by Victor Hugo, and also I've seen the musical at least 3 times. Just the sheer will that a person can have, that no matter what has befallen them, they still see that they have purpose, you know, and they still continue to, in the eye of adversity, to work and improve and do the best that they can. Despite what they feel has been done to them, they still find ways around it. That's what it's about. Not getting caught up in what appears on the external, but looking within. Sharing your gifts. We all have them. We're all beautiful creations meant to serve one another. One more, and then I'm going to show you what I got over here. And then let's work on the next tray. I think sleepy time is catching up with me. Wow, sometimes that's what happens with all this yummy, gooey goodness. It's picture perfect. I just love, again, it's food is art, right? Share this video if this is helping you. Somebody might be inspired to make this and go, wow, a healthy alternative, and I could make it in my house. This is what I'm talking about. That right there. Right? Cauliflower, parsnips. You know, just, I mean, yeah, there's spices, but it's really not that many ingredients. Isn't that gorgeous? Don't you want some of that? Right? Just saying. Food should be fun, and it should be tasty and nutritious. And so what I'm going to do is set this on. And I always set it to 115 degrees. And I'm going to go to 4 hours. And it's on 115 degrees. And that, my friends, is how you stopped the dehydrator. Especially the $40 one that's really easy to work with. And then I will start on the next. Do y'all want me to continue? Do you have any words of wisdom? Anything that you would like me to talk about? Oh my gosh, no wonder I didn't see the comments rolling. Sometimes they just stop, right? So if you haven't, if you are in our Ridiculously Rawthentic group, introduced yourself, please ninja flip on over there. You know that? That's exactly where you need to be, because guess what? We are all inclusive. So much fun. Thank you so much, Rebecca. You're awesome too. The dehydrator I got at Aldi's for $40, right? So ninja flip on over to the group, y'all. Introduce yourself. You need to get in on that. Because guess what? We're all inclusive. What does that mean? It means we drop the dogma. Sure, we're sharing all these beautiful recipes, but don't worry about, don't be scared. Don't be scared of the name. Ridiculously Rawthentic really means about being ridiculously raw and real. Being authentically who you are. You be you, right? Y'all know I pull out the stone. You be you. You be you. Be in your own personal power. Don't let people intimidate or manipulate you into being something other than who you were meant to be. You were meant to be in your authenticity. Rawthenticity, right? We all got a little cray-cray in us. Well, in this group, we accept all the cray-cray and a side of that cray-cray. You better bring on that cray cray, because I wanna see if it's as good as mine, or on the same level as mine. Not as good. Actually, we're all good. We accept everybody, and each and every one of you is so super important. You have no idea how much we love that you're even here, because when you're showing up, that's like showing up for others. You're giving others permission to be in their authenticity and their true radiant selves. It's all about uplifting, supporting, inspiring, and empowering one another, right? And you go over there, if you haven't been there already, read the introductions, check out the lives. People are going live, and we encourage you to all go live, right? Everyone brings a dish to this feast, literally. I'm telling you, Rebecca, exactly. Everybody in the group is family, and they bring their own special flavors, and we honor those flavors, because you see that we all got our own flavors here. We don't apologize for our flavors, because this is a thing. If you can't step into your personal power, right? Why are you even going to bother? It's too much work trying to be something you're not. I'm just grateful I finally figured it out. It took years of me just going, wait a minute here. I don't need to be what somebody else wants me to be. And we got these beautiful plant-based meal plans, but we're not, the group is free, and we want you to know that's what it's all about. It's about connecting and finding community that supports you where you're at, and that's what we do. We support each and every one of you, because we know we've been there. We know how hard it was to get as far as we've come, and that nobody could have told us speed up and be right here. Be right here now in this where you're at. Own it, accept it, appreciate it, give thanks for it. Seriously. And I tell you what, it's a process, it's ongoing, and I am still evolving myself. I didn't just come overnight to plant-based. I didn't just figure out that, oh my gosh, I have control over my body, I have control over my mind, and that I can create my reality. Because I've read a lot of information, but the real true test is integrating it into my life and accepting all parts of myself as whole. Right? I'm not broken. I don't need to be fixed. Nobody needs to be fixed. Nobody's broken. It's just that we need to embrace all these aspects, these parts, these experience beliefs, right? Everything about what we've had throughout the course of our lives is an experience, a thought, right? Is not who we are, but it's just it really is. We've traversed life having these various experiences that we've attached to, thinking that it defines us. It doesn't define us. If you can see it as the divine dance that we are, embraced with the energies, and the universe is guiding us. When you think, oh my gosh, there's an obstacle and I can't do this, or you get in the mindset that, oh my gosh, I'm stuck, this isn't going to happen, and somebody did this to me and it's your fault. And again, remember, always remember, when you're pointing one finger, you got three pointing back at you. Take responsibility inside of you. Into me I see, right? Become intimate with yourself. Go within and recognize that you have the power to change what's going on out here when you step into your personal power, right? The personal power is embracing all that you are, integrating yourself as one whole being, and not seeing, yes, the divine dance, and not seeing yourself as separate from anybody else, because everybody shows up to you as you are, and that the people who do show up in your life are truly mirroring it back for you to reflect and maybe choose, oh, let's go in a different flow, right? So if you find that life is maybe serving you up a fist, open your heart and soul, open your hand, and try to embrace them and find a way to flow with them. Any conflict resolution, there's different ways to work with it. You can turn around and go, stop, and you can try to push it away, but it's going to push back, because that is the power of the mind. This is the law of attraction. This is how energy works. What you resist persists, and what you push away will push back, right? Choosing the words carefully that you speak, the thoughts that you think, it's all creating your reality. That when you actually recognize that what you say you don't want is what you're actually drawing to you, there's that fist again. Don't, right? How about just embracing it and saying, wow, it's teaching me something. What is it trying to tell me in this moment right here, right now? And that don't ever give up before the miracle, because the miracle is what will be around the corner in the highest of all your discord and discomfort. That when you are that butterfly and you're feeling the pressure and you want to expand your wings because it's so hard and tight inside, nobody can help you. Because if you think you need help, you're going to lose the momentum and strength that's going to be necessary for you to emerge fully in your gracefulness and your beingness, right? So this is a true story, that when the butterfly is getting ready to emerge from its chrysalis to truly finish up that metamorphosis, as we all are transforming and metamorphosizing, right? We're always evolving. It's just where we are at in our evolution, our growth. And that butterfly, as it's getting ready, it has to build up momentum. It stays in the moment, and in the moment to moment creates that momentum. It's building up strength so that when it does finally break free, it can flap its wings, because without that building up of strength, it wouldn't be able to sustain and fly and flap those beautiful wings that we all admire when we see them, right? And that's just like we are as beings. We're meant to emerge and be in our true essence of being, and truly be able to sustain our own wingspan, right? So we have these experiences in life that are meant to strengthen us, because it's part of our gift that we brought to this world to experience in this human form, to share with everyone else. So let's all be butterflies and gracefully spread our wings. But remember, before you can truly emerge from your own chrysalis, that any type of pressure is really just like the diamond as well, to polish you, to prepare you to be in your grace and your ease. If you can sit calm amongst your own chaos and just witness it, being present in the moment, breathe with it, I'm telling you, your life will be golden, right? The alchemy of self-love is the more you nurture yourself from within, emerges that golden child within, right? And that's where we all truly are. We have this inner child that still wants to come out and play, and that inner child's wiser than we give it credit. And we need to allow ourselves to be in our essence, to be in our glory, to be free, to feel liberated, right? Right? So on this beautiful Friday, I hope I've imparted some wisdom that inspires each and every one of you. I love you. Keep it raw, stay rad. Keep your notifications on. You never know when I'm going to show up. What?